What's up, guys? It's that guy Tommy, and time for part four of the SOMA lore series, Overlord and Omicron and the Carthage conspiracy. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this because it goes into depth about a very interesting theory for the game itself and like the writing and style of the game and like lots of other things. You'll see it as we get into it. I should be able to do this in one shot. Shouldn't be able to split this up in two parts, but part five will probably have to, and part five will be the end. And then I think we'll do another lore video about some by another channel I saw. I think, but let me think about that and let you guys know. But for now, let's check out part four.
Below the creaking remains of the catwalk is the abyss, and somewhere deep in that inky recess lies the source of all this horror. Wow.
This scene, I just watching playthroughs of it. It gave me such anxiety. Just watching playthroughs of this scene gave me anxiety. Just wanted to point that out.
Yet, somewhere far closer, within the cloistered walls of Omicron, lies the only one left who knows how to stop it. When Simon arrives at Omicron, he finds the place inaccessible due to a station-wide quarantine. In hopes of finding a means to override it, he enters the neighboring outbuilding. Inside, Simon stumbles across the remains of a man. Judging by the most recent entries in the System Updates folder, this is likely the body of Olavi Savari. Yes, it's possible that it could be someone else, since the terminal does house entries some other Omicron staff, but the likelihood of that being the case is remote, primarily because A, we already know Adam Galaski met his fate at Site Theta, and B, Volchek is actually a woman. A dead body is no longer a strange sight by this point in the game. This one, however, should immediately strike us as odd. Unlike the other bodies found throughout Pathos 2, Savari's skull seems to have exploded from within. Simon attempts to data mine the body to listen upon his final moments. Instead, he hears only static. Interestingly, Catherine has some insight as to what this may mean.
He must have overloaded his black box.
Humans have black boxes?
Here we do. Company policy. It records your vitals to help medical personnel treat you in case of accidents.
That's how I can hear the dead.
Right. Yeah, you should be able to data mine black boxes, just like the intercom at Theta.
For reasons unknown, Savari's black box overload.
I wonder how many people didn't really catch that. Like, in like the like first playthrough. Some people like didn't notice that or didn't really take advantage of that mechanic when they had it. Some people had to go back and replay the whole game just to get all the information. I'm curious about that kind of thing.
It's just like the intercom at Theta.
For reasons unknown, Savari's black box overloaded, which caused it to explode, killing him in the process. The transmission recorded between Savari and a dispatcher named Herbert provides further articulation of the story beat.
Herbert, do we have any painkillers left? This tinnitus is becoming crippling.
Sorry, we only have heavy stuff left. Morphine-level drugs.
I'll take it. Feels like my head is about to explode.
You can do that stuff for emergencies. Besides, Cameron thinks the ringing will settle when JR reaches 100%.
Then tell him to hurry the fuck up.
Should be a matter of hours. Just hang in there.
Keep me posted.
Yeah, well, I have this thing I need to take care of, so I'll talk to you later, okay?
Sure thing, Herb.
The transmission implies that the overloaded black box and the tinnitus Savari was experiencing might be connected. Curiously, Herbert ends the transmission abruptly, a bit of foreshadowing of not just her goal, but her unfortunate fate as well. A nearby terminal also provides a glimpse of things to come. Here we see the black box statuses of all of Omicron's crew. All offline, all deceased. Even more intriguing is the way Simon manages to find the quarantine code. Just as he begins his search, the nearby terminal glitches out. It gets his attention and displays the exact number he needs to deactivate Omicron's lockup procedure. Someone, or some...
The funny part is when I've seen replays of this, the number is always different. It's I think it's a pretty randomized number. I think that's a really cool little the mechanic of the game.
Lockup procedure. Someone, or something, wants him to come inside. After deactivating the quarantine, Simon manages to make his way into Omicron, where he is greeted by more dead. These bodies, like the one in the outbuilding, also have overloaded black boxes. These bodies, unlike the one in the outbuilding, no longer have their heads.
The level of unsettling this area was in watching playthroughs is like I can't overstate it. Like I was so maddeningly uncomfortable every playthrough I watched of this game in this section. Like because everything else being dead, excuse me, up to this point made sense. Like it's like underwater, like the machines, everything like that. So machine hit it, but like everyone's head seemed to explode. What was that about? It gets explained later. I keep looking over here. It gets explained later, but but it's just like the initial sight is so unsettling. Like seriously.
In fact, they are indicative of the condition of all of the dead found throughout Omicron. When reaching the second floor of the station, Simon discovers a glass containment chamber where he witnesses a strange entity within. This being appears and disappears before his eyes. Judging by the effect it has on Simon's perception, we can identify it as a creation of the WoW. However, unlike the other proxies we've encountered thus far, this one can speak. The creature communicates.
Real quick, at the beginning of the game in Upsilon, when you reach the communication tower, you can actually hear another voice, and it's this voice of the who we just saw in the glass case. Very much giving the very doom and gloom report of what you're dealing with in this section of this whole game, actually. So yeah, I gotta find a clip of that. Maybe I'll post that too and see if we can do that. Maybe I'll try to add it in here, but we'll see.
The creature communicates with Simon both verbally and through computer terminals, urging him to stop it, telling him we suffer, and advising him to take the gel. But who is the creature? What gel is it referring to? Where did it come from, and what is its goal? Well, before we investigate the nature behind this entity, let's reconvene with some old friends from Theta, the ARC team. When we last saw them, they were en route to Omicron. The projected timeline was somewhere near the beginning/middle of November of the previous year. Their goal was to bring the ARC to Site Phi using Omicron's abyssal climber. Judging by some artifacts found throughout the station, we learned that they successfully arrived before the quarantine protocol rendered the site inaccessible. However, the exact date of their arrival isn't known. In the power suit bay, we find a photo of the ARC team, the same photograph seen back at Theta, as well as a checklist of tasks they sought to complete before beginning their descent. Down in Omicron's dispatcher room, we actually get an exact timestamp of their departure, December 25th, 2103, Christmas Day.
Omicron, can you hear us?
Loud and clear. Everyone all right?
We will be as soon as we make friends with the power suits.
I'm sure you'll get used to it.
Look at that. Just wanted to check in before we pass the last working Lumar probe. Guys, any last words to Omicron? Don't forget to pick us up. You heard that, right?
Don't worry, we won't forget.
All right. Heading into radio silence.
Good luck, guys.
The exchange is short, but reveals that they were supposed to be picked up shortly after the launch of the ARC into space. The fact that the ARC still remains on Earth, and that the team never returned from the Abyss, proves that something went awry. Nevertheless, the climber eventually did return. Just not with who was expected. A document found on the reader outside the containment chamber reveals that a dead man was discovered in the climber after it returned from Tau. Omicron staff identified the body as Johann Ross, a man who was, ostensibly, Site Tau's AI psychologist. The discovery of the body horrified Omicron staff so much that they decided to not investigate Tau or even send a rescue team after the ARC crew. In the dining hall, Simon finds the remains of Julia Dahl. If the name sounds familiar, it should. We first saw it written on a classified document found in Mark Sorang's quarters. Here, we can listen to her undelivered audio logs, which provide some interesting insights into Omicron's final days.
Johann Ross was found dead on the climber this morning. The ARC team went down a couple of days ago, but I see no reason to suspect them playing a part in his death. The climber can't be operated from the Abyss, so there was a scheduled retrieval. the climber returned with only the lifeless body of Alpha member Johan Ross. No traces of the ARC team. Cameron, Eames, Lansky, all studying the body inside containment. I'll follow up with whatever they find. Delenda Est.
There are many things to take of note here. The first being that Ross's body was discovered sometime after the ARC team had made their descent into the abyss. Julia, and likely all of Omicron, did not consider foul play at work. The second thing of note is that 3 members of Omicron's science staff were attempting to study Ross's remains, even while encased in glass. Some of their research can be found on a PDA in the laboratory. Their findings revealed that the WoW had been bombarding his body with electromagnetic fields in order to instruct the gel within to repair his corpse. It's this unhealthy dose of electromagnetism and radiation that interfered with the staff's black boxes, which caused the headaches and bloody noses that they endured throughout their final days.
The WoW has been getting more aggressive, pushing all systems to their limits. Ironically, the dead Dr. Johan Ross would be the perfect person to ask why the WoW is making such a big buzz about his passing. After all, the WoW isn't supposed to want anything, and definitely not to mourn people. The system overload affects the staff considerably. Headaches, loss of sleep, unwarranted stress. And it seems to be getting worse. I could use some advice if you can get through. Delenda Est.
The last thing of note is that Julia refers to Ross as being from Site Alpha. This not only contradicts the note from earlier, which claimed he was from Site Tau, but also confirms the existence of this oft-whispered, much-speculated station. Alpha was an enigma to many of Pathos 2's staff, a bit of mystique pondered upon by the more conspiratorial crewmen, while the skeptical hand-waved it away as urban legend. Yet, in truth, it was anything but. This is not the first time we've heard the name Alpha. It was first mentioned in the same classified document found in Sarang's room, the one which name-dropped Julia. And it was also certainly spoke about in hushed tones by those at Omicron. Riley Herber, for instance, even inquired about its existence by going directly to Julia.
It's not something you really want to get comfortable with. That's funny. That's really funny, Julia. What's going on? Am I that transparent? What do you want, Raleigh? We're friends, right? Yes. Do you think Alpha is real? What makes you... Why would you ask that? I think Ross is trying to tell me something. About Site Alpha? He wants me to go down to the abyss and find him. Crazy, right? You've been down there. I just thought you could talk some sense into me. Ronnie, I'm not at liberty to... I can't talk about that. What?
Additionally, the Sarang document also refers to...
Okay, so... Excuse me. So, I really do think that this is where, beyond the typical, horror fashion of this game, the bigger overall horror kind of kicks in, because it's now Site Alpha is this boogeyman of a place, or the boogeyman's lair, which I guess that's what you could call the WoW, and it's it kept a secret and everything. I always find it weird in situations like this where it's the end of the world. Who are we protecting anymore? It's it always gets me in disaster movies too, where it's no, this is a classified area, you can't come in here. It's 98% of the world's population is gone. Who cares anymore? So I always found that interesting. Mark's Rank Intelligence agents surrounding the company is very pleased to hear your success with making it the WoW. I think we read this one already. Yeah, I think we read this already.
Johan Ross, seeing how both the door to Sarang's quarters and the document found within are labeled as property of Carthage Industries, it's safe to presume that all 3 of Pathos 2 staff members were agents of this shadowy corporation. But to what end? Well, with Mark having killed himself, Ross being found dead on the climber, and Dahl no longer having a head, it's safe to presume that the secret died with them. The most we can do is theorize with the information we have been given.
Yep.
Sadly, there is precious little known about Carthage. The game offers nothing to base our speculations on, save for the knowledge that certain members of Pathos 2 were under their employ, and that the WoW was promoted to main governing AI of Pathos 2 under their command.
Mm-hmm.
The only extra bit of suppositional fodder comes from the Latin phrase Dahl bookends her transmissions with, delenda est. The expression refers to a short story written by Paul Anderson, which in itself is an allusion to the phrase Cathargo delenda est, which translates to Carthage must be destroyed. How this correlates to the events of the game is anyone's guess. It is possible that the quote is meant to refer back to the Third Punic War, where the quote originated. The conflict between the Carthaginians and the Roman Republic resulted with the total destruction of the city and the death/enslavement of their peoples. It isn't hard to parallel this with the fate of humanity in the world of Soma, who've had their home, the surface, completely destroyed, while the last vestiges of their species are enslaved by a despotic automaton. It's a pretty straightforward juxtaposition. I'm not overly fond of it, if only because the parallel could be made of any number of historical events.
True.
Instead, I'm more partial to the idea that Frictional were actually referencing Anderson's delenda est. In the short story, a group of renegades travel back in time and change the outcome of the Second Punic War. Their meddling results with a new timeline in which the Punic general, Hannibal Barca, eradicates Rome. His conquest changes the course of history. Whereas European civilization had been influenced by Roman Greco culture in actual history, it instead becomes based on Celtic Carthaginian culture. The story of delenda est follows an agent of the Time Patrol, who finds himself questioning whether he should travel back in time to prevent these changes from occurring, an act which would negate his own timeline. Drawing comparisons between Soma and delenda est is not the purpose of this video, so I won't spend much time on it. However, I'll admit, I like Frictional's use of thematic inversions and parallels. Nothing is explicit. It's all subtle articulations and reinterpretations of themes. For instance, both protagonists are men out of time. Instead of a character who travels back in time, Soma has one who travels forward in time. Whereas an entire timeline of people are wiped from existence in delenda est, it's the entire human race who's killed off instead in Soma. Whereas the main character in delenda est meddles in the events of a timeline not his own, to prevent Oblivion from claiming that as strange timeline. Instead, we have Simon meddling in the events of a future also not his own, in an attempt to save an estranged humanity from extinction. It's good stuff, clever, understated, and thematically poignant. And the one theme to tie it all together is the theme of interference, or interruption. People interfering with the flow of time. A general interferes with the domination of an empire. A comet interferes with the domination of a species. On a micro level, if it's all revealed that Carthage industries were created to interfere with the flow of things for the betterment of mankind, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen that one of their agents, Mark Serang, interfered, meddled in the affairs of Pathos II's governing systems. He managed to elevate the WoW to a position it was never intended to host, yet we never learned why. Ultimately, whatever the WoW was supposed to do next never came to fruition, since it never had an opportunity to do so. The comet Telos struck Earth, and Carthage industries, as well as all of humanity, ceased to be. Their agents persevered, for a bit, but much like their benefactors, they too began to drop, until one day, when there was only one left. How apropos that Johann Ross would be the one to survive, thanks to the machinations of Carthage and the WoW. Perhaps this was all part of the plan all along. Not him surviving, mind you, but the change of humankind brought upon by artificial intelligence. Maybe that was the goal of Carthage, and the arrival of Telos put an end to their design, or should I say, their original design, because as we know, the WoW is still functioning, and humanity is changing, just not into what was likely intended.
Jeez Louise.
This is just speculation, but it's something to consider. Either way.
So let's talk about that real quick. Also, the way the WoW messes up people's bodies really bugs me. So it really does beg the question of like, so let's pretend that the comet never hit, right? What was the WoW doing? What was it gonna do? What was the end goal? What was the end game? Like, or what was Serang supposed to do with the WoW? Was it still this? Like, was it still a case of the WoW was supposed to, infect the crew, experiment with them? They were down, 20,000 leagues under the sea. Story, book reference. Who's going to hear them? I mean, the only people who they really interacted with on the outside world was the crew of the MS Curie. And even if they somehow let's say some of their messages got out, by the time that the Curie would find them, it would be too late. So And also, if let's say that that it was supposed to change humanity. Excuse me. What would be the what would be the thing they were trying to prove, or like what they're just trying to just make humans more mechanical, extend life, or because that's what the thing that the WoW is doing with everyone, just in a extremely flawed way. I mean, look what happened to what's her name in the tunnel, or to some of the people we just saw here in Omicron, because they do not look like they're having a good time. Or the other station where Terry Akers attacked. So, like what was the point? Like, and then also, if you're gonna take the story and like about people interfering in the flow of time, and or in flow of people's dominion, you could also argue Simon is that character too, because all he's doing is kind of interfering with what the WoW is doing, right? Because he's like going places and doing stuff that the WoW isn't controlling him. He's the WoW doesn't have any say over him, as it kind of did with everybody else. And not the WoW had but you know what I mean. So it's a very very interesting stuff. So yeah, let's keep going.
This is just speculation, but it's something to consider.
Of course.
Either way, we know Ross survived and devised a plan to combat the WoW. It seems he established contact with Omicron's dispatcher, Raleigh Herbert.
Hey, Andrea?
Yeah?
I was talking to Cameron about protein solubilization. Do you think we could break the aggregate and structure gel without flattening the configuration?
Jesus. That was a mouthful. You've been listening to Cameron, that's for sure. What do you want, Raleigh?
Can you blame me for trying to figure this out? I've been having the dreams too, I don't know what to believe.
Oh, I know. Everything from the sudden signal amplification in black boxes to having a comatose Dr. Ross locked up in the glass jar. We've all been going a bit nuts.
Tell me about it. Feels like my head's about to explode.
Second reference to that.
Hypothetically speaking, could we stop the WoW from mutating?
It doesn't work like that.
Even if there was a site alpha?
Hypothetically speaking, I guess we could try. Raleigh, are you recording this?
Sorry. I just... Sorry.
Ross spoke to Raleigh through her dreams. Their contact kick-started her investigation into Site Alpha and her desire to find a means of halting the WoW's mutation. Her dialogue refers to Lisa Cameron's research, which can be found in the laboratory in Omicron. Here we find documents detailing the nature of the structure gel. The substance is explained to be a...
That little jump is because, I don't know if you guys saw it. Hold on. Let's see if I can pause it right when it does it.
Cameron's research, which can be found...
Yeah, right there. Again, watching playthroughs, I'd always get freaked out when this happened. Like, it says, take the gel right there. Ugh, that was... Ross. Creepy. Anyway.
Found in the laboratory in Omicron. Here we find documents detailing the nature of the structure gel. The substance is explained to be a cross-linked gel with aligned graphene and a polyunsaturated matrix. There's a lot of hard sci-fi jargon on display here. However, the key tidbit to take away from all of this is that the gel could be encoded with instructions and could actually be recalibrated to disregard the WoW's commands. This, combined with the data provided by Ross, is likely where Raleigh got the idea to use the gel against the WoW. For an indeterminate amount of time, she became committed to the task, even to the point of obsession. The dispatcher room shows that fixation firsthand. The walls are plastered in post-its, covered in mad scribbles. There are notes telling her to head into the abyss, take it to Alpha in the abyss, and to find Tau, find Alpha, take the gel to Alpha. We also see a myriad of drawings. One shows the container of structure gel stored in the laboratory. Others are of logos, all belonging to that of Site Alpha. Even more quizzical was the accurate renderings of the WoW. One of these even says, "It's sick. Alpha needs medicine." This implies a few things. Firstly, that Ross's obsession quickly became Raleigh's obsession. Secondly, that Ross somehow managed to show Raleigh what the WoW and Site Alpha looked like. Whether this was done telepathically or through images on computer terminals isn't exactly known. Lastly, it implies that Raleigh was under the impression that the WoW was sick and could be healed through medication. Again, this was likely told to her by Ross. In her eyes, she thought using the structure gel would help the WoW to recover from its mutation, or at the very least, stop the sickness in its tracks. Of course, Ross and the WoW knew better. On January 16, 2104, Raleigh sent the final transmission to Theta, informing Peter Strasky that she would be leaving her post.
Strasky, are you there?
I hear you, Herbie. What's up?
Just wanted to check in. I have to go do something. I might not be around for a few days, okay?
Raleigh Herbert leaving the listening post? Must be important.
It is, Strask. It is.
Okay then. Stay safe.
Raleigh stole one of the containers of structure gel and made her way to the power suit bay in preparation for her journey into the abyss. As she outfitted herself in the last remaining power suit, the black box that was implanted in her cranium overloaded, killing her instantly. What caused this to occur is not yet revealed to us, and won't be for some time. As of now, we can confirm that Omicron staff all perished the same way, by having their black boxes overloaded by some powerful surge, wiping them out in an instant.
Things are out of hand.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here and just say this. This one little sound clip, I think it kind of stayed with me a little bit. Like, I know that's a lot to say for a lot about this game. It's one of my top 5 things about this game that just stayed with me. Like, oh my god.
Wiping them out in an instant.
Things are out of hand. The staff looks like they're about to explode. Every other person walks around with nosebleeds, and the rest keep wiping stains of blood from their eyes to keep them from overflowing. It's to do with the WOW trying to free Ross somehow, for sure. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the body just got up and left. Raleigh Herbert, our dispatcher, has been snooping around asking questions she shouldn't. She says she's going down into the abyss to find Alpha. I can't bring myself to stop her.
All the while, Johann Ross, the one who recruited...
Man, like, to know that that's the exact moment when the black box has got... jeez Louise, it's... Yeah, that stayed with me.
Johann Ross, the one who recruited poor Raleigh to do his bidding, remained behind as the lone survivor of Omicron. Now that we have more context behind Ross's presence and purpose, his attempts at contacting Simon begin to make more sense. It was he who gave him the deactivation code for Omicron's quarantine system. Where Raleigh failed, Ross hopes Simon will succeed. Simon eventually makes his way to the power suit bay, where he finds the remains of Raleigh Herbert encased in a damaged power suit. Catherine informs him that he can use that suit to travel into the abyss, but before he can do so, he'll first need to repair it in order to move his consciousness into it. After acquiring all the necessary items to get the suit up and running, Ross liberates himself from his imprisonment. Simon then returns to the power suit bay, where he manages to repair the suit. He moves his consciousness into it. After doing so, Simon realizes that he wasn't transferring his mind into a new body, but actually uploading a copy into one instead. His original body still houses a functioning consciousness within it, and Simon is left with a moral quandary. To abandon his old body at Omicron, where it will one day reawaken and be left to fend for itself, or to drain its battery, sparing it from the misery of a world without hope in life, but also depriving it of a chance, no matter how remote that chance may be. Regardless of your choice, Simon boards the climber. With his new body, he is now capable of withstanding the immense pressure of the abyssal depths. As the climber begins his descent, Catherine and Simon wax philosophical for a bit. However, before reaching the bottom, Ross appears, speaking words that leave us to wonder which Simon is truly better off, the one in the climber or the one back at Omicron.
You did it! You did it! I will make preparations.
Okay. Wow. So, yeah. Do you see why I love the lore of this and everything like that? Especially again, shout out to Gamological Dig for the hard work put into this series of videos for exploring this more. I love stories like this. I love in any medium, movies, TV, books, heck, even like paintings and you know, short stories, that they have this kind of like world building that's very cleverly thought out. Because it just proves how much effort that people care about story. And I'm sure, you know, you want to make a fun game and a great game and everything, but a fun game can also have like great world building, you know, and things like that. Even horror games. Nothing wrong with a horror game that has some interesting points and everything. The whole Simon transferring his mind thing, that always got me as like one of the craziest notions of in any game, because like of course, you know, that happened to him clearly from his original body to now, but I guess just like, you know, seeing it especially from his POV, like happening in real time more or less, that's got to be crazy and things like that. Yeah. And for anyone who played the game, what did you do? Did you turn off the other Simon, the one in the original diving suit, or did you leave it there? And if you did, what do you think happened to him? Because, you know, he woke up and Catherine wasn't there either. What do you think happened when he woke up? God. I have my own theories about what could have happened, or like, you know, my own like fan fiction mind, what I think would have happened at the end of the game and beyond. But you know what? Let's save all those theories for after this, and if I do the other lore video, maybe I'll do it in between anyway. Yeah, let's stop here. Well, that's the end of this episode, and I mean this part rather. And next time we'll be looking at the final part of the SOMA lore series by Gameological Dig, Part 5, and we'll close it out. And finally, I will have this done, and be so happy because I finally got to do a reaction to this series, which I'm a huge fan of. So, thank you guys so much again for watching. I appreciate it. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends, your neighbors, even your enemies. All those socials right there. That guy Tommy 2, almost everything. X/Twitter. That guy Tommy W2. And of course, if you're ever blessed to be a blessing, that CashApp, I appreciate it. And of course, like I say all the time, the Facebook is on its way. It'll get there, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. When you go out in this crazy world, just be good people. And I'll see you guys next time. And you all take care of yourselves. Minasan, sayonara. Peace. What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out the video. Really appreciate you. You guys are wonderful. You're stupendous. You're magnanimous. It's a great word, isn't it? Magnanimous. Anyway, thanks for watching. Keep on the lookout for more. Follow me on all my socials. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. That really helps me out. Thank you guys so much for checking me out, checking out the videos, and get ready for more coming down the pipe, because you never know what's coming next. See you guys soon. Peace. I think that was pretty good.